Firme Haina by Proper Dose, Hot 103, the hottest hit music station. Special guest Ernie G of Proper Dose. Now, where could your fans go, learn more about you, purchase your past albums, interact with you, and see what you're up to these days?
I kind of fell back for a minute, but then in 2000 I started, with the computers and the internet, and you can do home studios now and get the same result as the big studios. It's not what you have, it's kind of what the gift you have, what you know, and your flows and all that. So I started working with this guy that kicked it off for me. Now I got a new label, which is High Caliber Records. There was this guy, Too High, that just kept bugging me, man. I was like, I'm not into it no more. So he kept bugging me. And I said, all right, here's a beat. And he rapped to it. And here's another beat. And he rapped to it. And here's another beat. And he rapped to it. And no matter what, there was beats I didn't even like. I'm like, yeah, here's another one. And he just kept doing it. I'm like, man, this guy's he's really hungry. So he pushed me to do the same thing. And so that's how it's happening. I remember my producer once told me when we were on Scandalous Records, he says, man, the good thing about Ernie is that, he's like, rappers come a dime a dozen. He goes, producers, it's rare that you get you have your producers, but there's much, much more rappers than the producer. He's like, you can be 65 and still produce. You can be behind the scene and still produce. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I remember that. So after that, I'm like, man, okay, I'll produce this guy. I don't really have to be, forefront man. I just, do this guy. So we did Too High. That was great until he kind of got locked up. So that kind of ruined the plan. So I moved on, and I had this other guy, Loco Negro, and things happened, and that did his things, and then I moved out to other couple rappers that did whatever, and right now I'm currently working with my nephew, Young Chapo, and Bad News, and you can check them out on YouTube on High Caliber Records. It's a different swag, you got to move with time. Sometimes you get stuck in a certain time, and that's where you stay, so it's trial and error, but I got some hot stuff with these guys, so if you guys kind of want to learn more, just hit the YouTube High Caliber Records, all one word, and you start seeing what I'm doing. And I got Buyo, aka Ryder for sure. Just check it out.
Now, how would you kind of compare and contrast what you did back in the day with Proper Dose with what you're doing now with High Caliber Records?
I guess what I'm doing now is just kind of just standing back and trying to help whoever I can, man. Where I can't help everybody, but whoever I feel like is hungry, I'm going to push that. Just by, not so much production, I might just do a couple beats nowadays, but not really. Now my thing is more like engineering, just recording, like somebody's recording you, which is not looked upon like a big part of it, but now I think it's kind of stepping up to the forefront where it's part of the production. And I think because of being a DJ and just being around the music, even the smallest little detail you do might make a big difference, People ain't gonna look at it that way, but some people know that, you know what I mean? Like, you might hear a song and you're like, wow, that sounds great, but somebody made it sound great, you know what I mean?
Right.
It didn't happen. So it's more like me just stepping back. I'm more like the grasshopper, you know what I mean? Like, hey, do this, do that, and you should do that. Hey, step away from the mic, or like, hey, let's try this, or sometimes I just step back and let the people do what they do, and I just capture the magic. That's kind of been my thing. Like, I learned that, hey, you just got to capture that magic. Just capture it.
Henry G here with you on a Sunday afternoon. Hot 103, the hottest hit music station. Special guest Ernie G of Proper Dose. We're about to wrap things up. Before we do, though, here is Proper Dose. This is something to bump. Hot 103, the hottest hit music station. This is on a Sunday afternoon. Henry G with special guest Ernie G of Proper Dose. Now, you touched on it a little bit earlier. You're working with High Caliber Records. Now, what does High Caliber as a label represent to you, and what are you hoping to accomplish by working with High Caliber Records?
High Caliber is just like what it means. We're on a different level, on a higher caliber, and just, I didn't put too much thought into it. I just wanted kind of like a cool name. And just mess with only like people that I would actually like, that I'm like, it's new music. I don't want to just some people think like, well, this is a guy that made Mexican Power and that's all you're gonna get, Mexican Power beats, oldie beats. I'm like, sometimes I say, man, that gets played out, man. Everybody and their mama's doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the whole "Orale, I'm gonna shoot you," and you know, like it kind of like, hey, let's evolve, man. Let's move forward. So that's what High Caliber is to me. You know what I mean? Like, some of the music is different. Maybe it's like, oh, you know, it's like me listening to an artist. Like when I heard Dr. Dre from the first Chronic to the second Chronic, 2001, it was like, whoa, this is different. This is not the G-Funk era. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then look what happened to the Chronic 2001. Everybody's like, man, wow, this is the crack right here, you know? So it's kind of like the same thing. I'm trying to like move forward and little by little introduce people to like, look, it doesn't have to be just this. It's okay to have another cat, and it doesn't have to all be like, orale, yeah, Simon, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't want to get stuck in the whole Nike Cortez still, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, let's move forward a little bit. You can still be G, but just, you know, get a different swag now, you know what I mean?
Right. Now, given everything that you've been able to accomplish in the industry up to this point, what are you personally most proud of?
I guess it has to be that album, Mexican Power album, man. I mean, just making it, just being in the studio, just the promo runs, just people like, man, you know, just doing interviews, just going places, just, I learned everything because I was the kind of guy that wants to know, like, hey, what's that? Oh, that's mastering. Hey, what's that? That's where we're going to mix it. Hey, what's that button right there? Hey, well, that's a compressor. Hey, what's that right there? Oh, that's a microphone. That's a preamp. Like, I was into everything. Like, oh, well, what's ASCAP? Oh, well, that's your publishing. Oh, what's publishing? Hey, man, well, that's what pays you. I'm like, really? Okay, cool, dude. So, you know, everything. I love everything. Even to this day. I mean, come on. For me to still be around this, I mean, I didn't think I would be, but I love what I do, man. I love what I do. This is truly what I love to do. I would not be here just for the hell of it.
We're about to get into another Proper Dose track. Before we do, I want to thank you for being a part of On a Sunday Afternoon. Anything you want to say to the listeners out here in Las Cruces going through their daily struggles, aspiring to reach their goals, and also any shout outs you want to give as well?
Man, well, just shout out to all my fans. Everybody's ever listened to Proper Dose, Mexican Power, Feed Me Jaina, Hard Times, you know, You're No Good, all that. I like to send a big shout out to everybody for supporting us, for bumping our music, for telling a friend, for doing all that. I really appreciate that, man. And for people trying to do it, all I can say is nobody's going to do it but you, man. You got to believe in yourself. I know it's going to be times where, like, man, everybody's doing it, like I said, but how bad do you want it, man? How bad do you want it? You just got to do it. You got to do it, models and all that. You guys got to do your own thing. You know, everybody's got to do it. What's so unique about you? Ask yourself, what's so unique about you? What's so different about you that somebody can say, wow, I like that, you know? Do your shows, network, turn every rock, do whatever you have to do. I mean, if you fall, pick yourself up and just do it. I mean, there was time when people told us, like, it's okay. I don't like it. It's okay. But I was like, that's cool. I understand that people have their opinions, but if you're destined to do something, you're gonna do it.
The legendary Ernie G, a Proper Dose, now of High Caliber Records, right here on Hot 103, the hottest hit music station. This is Proper Dose, One Summer Night.